is the Sterling vs. Podcast, here to inform and entertain the Sonic fan in you. Welcome and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone to the Sterling vs. Podcast. I'm your host, Silver Rhymes. I'm with my co-hosts, Elmer Lance.
Howdy all.
And Black Arms.
What's up?
And boy, do we have a show for you today. Second and last show of Season 1, and it's action-packed. We got both our co-hosts here, and we're ready to roll. Let's start out with some news from the previous week. First off, I'd like to ask how everyone's doing this week. First, Emerald Lance, how's your week been going?
You know, I am doing good. I am waiting for Other M to come out still. I don't think I'll be perfectly content till Sonic 4 and Metroid Other M come out, and I am playing them. But I did just go a little bit further in No More Heroes 2, so I'm kind of happy. And I just got Mass Effect 1, because I'm not going to play the second one yet until I play the first one. So, all in all, I'm pretty content right now.
Alright, cool. And Black Arms, how was your week?
Well, besides some busyness, it's actually been fantastic. My grandmother was over for like 2 weeks and she left this week. And so with all that, I'm really anticipating Alan Wake right now. A whole lot.
Yeah, Alan Wake. I looked up a bit on it and I saw it. I didn't know, as I think I told you before, but I didn't know what it was. Like, you kept bringing it up and I was like, what's the big deal about Alan Wake? And I went to search and I was like, I remember a trailer about this a while back. And I remember it looked kind of cool because I think you could explain it better. If you could give us a little 2-minute summary on what what the general premise is about, because I think it sounds really cool.
Can do. Alan Wake is the story of a writer named, you guessed it, Alan Wake. Alan Wake, however, had a writer's block for like 2 years. He's a really famous author. He's known everywhere. I think of him as a Stephen King type. However, he just hasn't been able to write for the last 2 years, and he has become extremely kind of angry. He's become an angry person as the years have gone by. He's had fights with paparazzi, and his wife and his best friend / agent are concerned, so they take him to the small Washington town of Bright Falls. However, in Bright Falls, things start happening a bit weirdly until eventually the whole town is being possessed by a thing known as the Darkness, which can possess people, animals, machines, trees. It possesses anything, and they all want to kill Wake, including there's a manuscript of a book that Wake doesn't remember writing spread around the town. Everything that's written on the manuscript is coming true. However, there's only one way to fight the force in the darkness, and its answer is kind of obvious: the light. Using light, you have to disshroud the darkness that envelops the enemies and destroy them with guns, of course. The game focuses on a very strong story, which I'm not going to go into depth right here in case anyone does decide to play it. However, though, apparently it's supposed to be very mind-blowing. And with the light, we fight and, find out the mysteries of Bright Falls, Alan Wake's past, and lots of other stuff.
Awesome. And I heard you might be doing a little playthrough, perhaps, on your little channel?
Yes, on our YouTube channel, Spirits United right now, I am planning to do a playthrough, even though I first have to get rid of my fear playthrough before I do that.
Right. But we'll be definitely looking forward to that stuff. Check out Spirits United. They're a pretty cool YouTube channel. Got plenty of game throughs and dubs and all the good stuff. Let's see. On to the news. This week, there's a rumor that Crazy Taxi might be coming to Xbox Live. Sounds pretty cool. Along with Sonic Adventure. This info was released after some leaks from PartnerNet. Surprise. And we might be seeing it very soon, in fact.
It just has to be said, Crazy Taxi! Sorry.
And some things we hope they don't do, like removing, real life stores from the game, because gosh knows what kind of changes they'll make, and other stuff. I've never played. I play the arcade of Crazy Taxi. I might be getting it for the Dreamcast, so I can play it on the Sterling Versus. Check for that in the future. But other than that, I've never really played it. But it looks amazingly fun. I don't play too many racing games, but this is like a new type of, not new type, but kind of different type. And I'm really, if it's coming for the Xbox, I really can't wait, because I won't. I think it's a good idea to get this game out there, just like Sonic Adventure. But that's Sonic
trust
Adventure.
me when I say it.
Yeah.
I played
though.
But
Crazy Taxi is a great arcade game.
Lance, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. But I've played Crazy Taxi as well, and it's, like he said, it's a really great arcade game. But I've played it for the Dreamcast too, and it's the same thing, and it's not very good for the Dreamcast, at least in my opinion. Because it's not really a racing game so much. It's like an infinite time trial, basically. I mean, if you played Grand Theft Auto 4, it's like the taxi service for that. Just, the whole game. The whole game is just time trial, and it's interesting. There's, it's pretty fun at first, but I would think it's about fun for a couple hours, and then probably won't ever want to pick it up again.
I'll have to throw an opposite opinion. I guess this is good for constructing or contrasting opinions, but Crazy Taxi, in my opinion, while it's a bit of a time trial, as he's saying, one of my favorite parts of the whole entire game is that it's actually pretty fun to challenge yourself because the whole world is actually pretty open-ended in where you go, besides the fact that you have to drive passengers from one point to the next. But you gotta choose what passengers you gotta take on and all that, and the world is pretty big and explorable. The one complaint, as he was saying, is that the game is timed. I wish that there was some type of free roam thing where you could just do whatever you want. I think that'd add a lot more to it, but still, for what it is a lot of fun. And as you were saying earlier, I hope that they don't take out some of the really cool, real places like Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, as I just said, and it's pretty good. Maybe soon we'll get maybe some Shenmue on the Xbox Live too. Anyway. Let's see. Alright, Afterburner Climax is now available on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. And you guys can pick it up for 800 Microsoft points, or 8 euros? 8 euros. Or 10 pounds. I don't know. I'm reading I can't appreciate 3 pounds in euros or whatever. But yeah, pick it up now. There's some cool stuff. For anyone who's not played Afterburner Climax, it's like a jet kind of fighter game thing. It looks good. It's really good from the screenshot I'm looking at. Get some pretty spiffy stuff for your avatar. Some nice backgrounds for your PlayStation. Nice background for your avatar. Get a helmet stuff. Bunch of achievements. It's a really good game. 20 stages to blast through. And if you like shooters like this, jump on it. Anyone else know about this game? Because I've actually never heard of it, but it's news, for Sega.
For me, I actually got the trial version of Afterburner Climax. I haven't bought it though, and I actually haven't played it because I was just downloading a lot of trials and I recognize the name, but I've never actually played it, which is strange because I'm pretty sure it was on Sega's Genesis Ultimate Collection, at least the original. Still, though, a remake could potentially be very good for it. Actually, this is related to another piece of news I'm pretty sure is coming up about Sega of America, and you know what's becoming of them?
Right. Well, if you know about it, maybe you can share.
Sure.
This news thing is open to everyone. If you got something, let us know.
True. Well, there actually might be a lot more Sega downloadable content games coming out, which is suggestive because they are releasing a lot of downloadable content games from Sonic 4 to Afterburner Climax to all these Crazy Taxi and all that games, because apparently, since the person who's in charge of the Sega America and Sega of Europe factions are the Sega of Europe president, who's now the leader of both Sega of America and Europe, they've recently been closing down some of their establishments and dropping some employees. Sega of America and Sega of Europe are actually both owned by the previous only Sega of Europe leader. The Sega of Europe leader has recently got hold of both of the countries, Segas, and recently they have fired quite a few Sega employees, 74 if I remember the number correctly. However, though, they right now are putting Sega of America up to doing downloadable contents only. In other words, downloadable games. Which would probably explain why all of a sudden there's all these downloadable games coming, like Sonic 4, Crazy Taxi, Afterburner Climax, and you should be expecting probably to see more since Sega of America are being focused on working on downloadable content games. And that's it for the Ryan News Report. Back to you, Silva.
Alrighty then. As I said before, that was sounds like it's a pretty spiffy idea. And that'd be maybe not all that bad that Sega of America did this little rearrangement of sorts. Hope to see a lot more games in the future. That would, of course. And today's May 1st. Why did I check? It's May 1st, and you know what that means. It's Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day. So I hope you guys picked up your free Sonic comic and your free Iron Man comic, because we all know Sega's making a new Iron Man 2 game, so an Iron Man comic book was released today. So check that out.
Rager stores, freedom.
I think the Iron Man comic book today is it features Thor and Iron Man. They're going on this crazy adventure and stuff. And Sonic, he's going on his own little escapade, searching out Eggman in an old hideout, and seeing what he's up to. So yeah, pick a look today, free. And let's see. So we promised you, guys, top 10 list of our toughest bosses that we faced. Keep in mind, these are our opinions, of course, and based on only the ones we fought. So if you haven't played the game and there's a tough boss battle in there, sorry we missed it. For instance, I haven't played many of the Game Gear games, so I'm sure that there's a packed load of bosses in there that might give a pain to a couple peeps. So first off, let's look towards Emerald Lance and listen to his top 10 toughest bosses of all time.
All right. Thank you. Now, remember, I think I should say something. We are talking about Sonic bosses, not video game bosses in general, right?
Right.
I guess number 10 is the Catcher Eggman from Casino Night Zone in Sonic 2, just because he was really hard to hit for me. I'm not used to jumping off walls to attack it, so really hard to hit, and the pinball bumpers and flippers actually got away from me instead of helped me, because you have to hit them from above or from the sides. You can't hit them from below.
Mm-hmm.
There. Mecha Knuckles from Angel Island Zone in Sonic Advance 1 is my number 9.
You mean the one that vomited missiles?
One that vomited missiles, simply because he vomited missiles.
It was pretty epic.
It was a lot. It was. They were really big missiles.
I'm like, how
I would
that?
expect to fire like little tiny bullet-sized missiles. I didn't expect him to vomit missiles bigger than he was, but I digress. At first, I was going into it expecting something akin to the fight before Sky Sanctuary Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
No idea he was going to turn into a missile-vomiting robot. Metal Sonic from Sonic Fighters is my number 8. Because no matter what difficulty you have it on, he's just a hard boss. It's been so long since I played it. I just remember the Metal Sonic battle, especially the last battle where you have all the emeralds and you're fighting for real,
mm-hmm.
is tough.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And metal characters are on my list. A lot of them, like the Silver Sonic from Death Egg Zone in Sonic 2. You call him whatever you want. I'm an Archie fan, so he will be known from me as Silver Sonic, to differentiate him from Metal Sonic. That aside, he was tough because it was the first time I'd ever fought him. I mean, even to this day, there's 2 factors. He's tough because most of the time he's only invincible from front and from the front side of the top, and only when he's standing, not when he's rolling. Not only that, you have no rings going into the fight. So one wrong, just a couple pixels off, and you're gone. You got to start all over. And Barrier Eggman from Flying Fortress Zone is my number 6. Also from Sonic 2. That's the one where he fires the laser beams at you. You're not fighting Eggman himself, you're fighting this robot that fires this little cannon thing that fires laser beams at you. It was recreated in Sonic and Knuckles in Flying Battery Zone as the boss before the boss, but you didn't actually have to hit it. And the platforms, there were no platforms, and the platforms in Sonic 2 were deadly. They had spikes on the bottom. It was just kind of hard for me to coordinate with that.
Mm-hmm.
There is the final boss from Sonic 1, where he's got the giant cylinders, the giant pistons.
Yeah.
And that one was hard for me because sometimes I'd get trapped, or it'd be hard to make it out. And then also there'd be that pink little light bulb that would fire those little energy bolts at you. And for the same reason Silver Sonic was tough, you had no rings for the whole fight. So if you got hit by one of those light bulbs, which homed in on you as they fell, then it would little things, then it would kill you. And they were kind of hard to avoid if you weren't used to, if you hadn't played a lot. Flying Eggman in Metropolis Zone, it's my number 4, the one Sonic 2 where he had all those little orbs flying around him. He was hard to hit. And now notice, I want to make a note here. I'm talking about the bosses when you're playing only as Sonic. If there's an option to play as Sonic and Tails, I'm talking about only as Sonic or only as Tails, only as one character. That boss is a cakewalk, probably the easiest boss if you're playing with both and a second controller. I'm talking about just solo game. By Sonic by himself, it was incredibly hard for me to take that boss down. Another from the Advanced series is my number 3, Egg Snake from Cosmic Angel Zone. Was tough. That was the one where you are basically on a bridge made out of Eggman. I had a hard time. You had to hit the bridge in a certain way, and you keep going back and forth. If you played it, it was hard. I don't know how to describe that fight other than just pure hard. There was nothing fun about that fight for me. Number 2 is the giant Eggman Robo, also from Death Egg Zone, because after you beat Silver Sonic, which remember is also in Sonic 2, you gotta fight this giant Eggman Robo, which launches spikes fisted at you. And number 1 is the runaway Eggman from Labyrinth Zone. I know you don't have to kill it, but yeah, if I were gonna try it with debug mode, I could get him, but even today I can't kill him. Fair. I could kill him with debug mode, not fair.
Alright then. Let's see, Black Arms, you want to go next, or shall I take the reins?
I'll take it.
Alright.
I got a list, and I know what to say.
Alright, cool.
Okay. For my 10th hardest boss, I will have to put it, and by the way, before I go, I'm considering multiple things, including the first time you fight it, and after times, how difficult it is, and all that. The first boss I have on my list is Eraser from Sonic and the Secret of the Rings in 10th spot. In case you never played Sonic and the Secret of the Rings, basically the setup is that you are close to the final battle. So basically, you got him, he's got a giant sword, and he does say what attacks he's going to use beforehand because it leaves a little trail of where he's about to swing his sword. The game's on rails, so he's always in front of you, and your only chance to really attack him is after you're able to dodge his sword and be able to do a speed boost. And it sounds easy, at least at first it seems easy. But the thing that you're going to find out really fast is that he is really fast. And you can use time stop, but the time stop means that you can't dash after him, since you have to collect the orbs to fill up your meters to do both and all that. So basically you're going to keep on going back and forth between chasing down basically Eraser while at the exact same time trying to actually live as the number of rings get lower and lower, and etc. In 9th spot for the hardest bosses, I have Sonic 1 for the Game Gear's Bridge Zone boss, which is this boss which you fight underwater with no rings. The setup is that bubbles only appear every once in a while, and there's no rings to the boss battle at all, so you have to dodge every single attack he has, which is lots of bullets, while at the exact same time trying to hit him and trying to at the same time maintain having a water supply, so you can breathe in bubbles. That boss, and even though I'm pretty sure some of you guys have not played Sonic 1 Game Gear, was very frustrating and took me forever to actually get to the next zone, which is actually my favorite zone in Sonic 1, which is the Tropical Zone. Right after that, I have in 8th spot, I've got Mecha Sonic from Sonic and Knuckles, who is, I'm thinking of the boss battle which you fight as him as Knuckles. Basically, the boss battle setup is that you reach Sky Sanctuary, and you go between a regular battle between you and Mecha Sonic, which is very reminiscent of the first Silver Sonic fight. Except that you have 3 rings instead of any rings, so that's kind of an upside. However though, basically, the boss battle focuses afterwards that Mecha Sonic starts using the Super Emerald and is invincible, so he starts flying around shooting energy balls at you, until eventually he runs out of power and has to go back and get more from the Master Emerald, in which case you can hit him, then he electrifies, goes back up, until eventually he's almost dead, so he becomes kind of super for good and throwing rings at you. I guess that's what he throws at you. And until he drops down for like just 1 second is the only chance that you have to hit him. The boss, the first time I fought him, was very difficult. I was stuck there for a while, though once you get the hang of it, it's kind of easy, but it's put on there because I'm pretty sure some people had some frustrations when it first started. Next boss on my list, in 7th spot, is the Sonic Rush. I think his name is Bombardo, but it's the final regular boss, not the wrapped in black boss, but the boss which you fight on top of the ship right after the final zone is either Sonic or Blaze. The boss, basically, especially on the harder difficulties, because you can either play on easy or normal. On normal, this thing was extremely frustrating. He keeps on shooting these little robot things that make electrical fields that you have to follow, and you need to follow it while at the same time he's doing punches at you. And, well, the whole platform is like collapsing, and the final hit has to be done in a self-destruct suicidal mode, kind of in the vein of the Egg Viper. The boss the first time was very, very frustrating, and trust me, I don't know its name. I think it was Bombardo or something, but that boss frustrated me for a long time in Rush. It was the only bosses I actually really found challenging in the game. After that, in 6th spot, we've got the Eggman Lava Reef boss. This boss, when I was new, this might be a little bit more biased on my list, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles is one of the first games I played, and the Lava Reef boss actually halted me from continuing for a very long time. The setup of the boss is that Knuckles has just hit you down a cliff with a boulder, and you need to progress after that, basically with, well, the egg launcher, as I call it. I'm not actually sure if that's its real name. It starts off with a little chase sequence where he's firing lots of missiles at you, but they each destroy the platforms, and then you have to go and progress as the screen scrolls around itself until eventually you land down below, where you basically have to survive with Eggman tilting back and forth. Now, there is one really cheap thing that makes this boss really easy, is if you know that there's a secret fire shield on, like, the furthest right you can go right before you get to the boss fight. But if you don't know that, that boss can be very, very irritating. In 5th spot, I have the Sonic 2 final boss with Knuckles. Not Sonic. Sonic is still pretty hard, but I'm considering this with Knuckles because Knuckles has a lower jump than Sonic. In other words, in Sonic 2 and Knuckles. So when you reach the final boss and you get there, there's almost no opportunities to hit him because Knuckles jumps too low. And when you're trying to avoid his giant stomping feet while he's firing claws at you, which you can't avoid unless, of course, you run away or duck or something at the right moment, that boss, I was doing so good at Sonic 2 and Knuckles the first time I played. I even got all the Chaos Emeralds and all that. Then I just got mauled by him with all my continues, and that was very frustrating. In my 4th spot, I've got the Bile Lizard, who is one of the final bosses in Sonic Adventure 2. You fight him as Shadow, and he's alright at first. There's some difficulties because he moves around a platform, and you kind of have to watch your back from both his neck and his tail as he chases you around. You have to grind up his tail and attack his core center in the center. And then after that, though, he starts shooting these little pink eggs at you. At least, isn't it kind of strange that he actually generates his own eggs and throws them at you? Was I the only one that found that kind of creepy? Well, anyways, the music is awesome, and I actually like the boss a lot, but when at the very end, especially at the very end, when you're like in the air and there's no way for you to defend yourself or to run away, and he just sends you up into the air and you start spinning around in circles, and if you get hit more than twice, you'll die. The boss is very, very irritating. My 3rd hardest boss of all time was the Egg Viper. Egg Viper was the final boss of Sonic Adventure, and it was also probably the most challenging boss in Sonic Adventure. Basically, the whole setup, the Egg Viper is a very nice boss. I want to clarify that just because it's difficult doesn't mean anything, but I have it on the list because for lots of people, this is when 3D games were new and all that. And Sonic Adventure was lots of people's maybe first 3D Sonic game. The Egg Viper, if it has all these attack patterns, which include spinning discs, shooting lasers, going around the side, and the only way which you can attack him is by kind of going over a cliff, which, if you're Fairy of Heights, has its own little specialties. But then the thing that made it definitely over the top annoying was his final suicide attack. The final suicide attack basically involves where Tikal warns you beforehand, which is good, but basically you destroy them, and in the final attempt to maul you dead, he kind of just aims right at you. It's kind of hard the first time to avoid that, and if you actually miss it, which happens a lot, you just have to start the boss fight all over from the start, even though you already beat him. After that, for my 2nd hardest boss, I got the Labyrinth Zone boss, which has been, put on upon, but the whole boss setup is that you're in a chamber filling full of water while you have to avoid little spike needle things that are pulling out walls, and at the exact same time, the Labyrinth Zone statues are firing fireballs after you, which makes no sense because they also go underwater and they still shoot fire, but whatever. But you have to try, you don't need to destroy Eggman, But as Lance also put on, you can't. I have never, without cheating, been able to beat the Labyrinth Zone boss fairly. And more so with all that, I usually either have to survive, and even surviving is difficult. Finally, the final boss, and this is, in my opinion, the hardest boss in the whole entire Sonic series. And I'm just going to put it as this one because this whole game is full of irritating bosses, but definitely the anthill from Sonic 2 Game Gear. I'm just going to put that because I have never beaten that boss fairly, I'll admit. I've only been able to beat it because I used time saves in Sonic Gems Collection when it came out. You have no reams throughout the whole entire boss setup, and the whole boss sounds simple because it's an ant at the bottom of the hill. You're on a very small screen, and there's bouncing balls coming at you, like giant iron balls. They come at varying speeds, and you have to dodge all of them. They come off screen, and you're on a downward slope, so you're kind of sliding towards the boss, while at the same time you're having to dodge giant iron balls going down. Now, there's harder bosses in Sonic 2 Game Gear, and that's why I kind of want to say just put all the Sonic 2 bosses from Game Gear in that one, but the reason why I have that one is because I know too many people who have gotten stuck on that boss and have never been able to progress because, well, it's just irritating. It's not even fun.
Well, that was a pretty good list, and you had a lot of bosses on there that I'm sure me and Lance and a lot of other people would also agree were irritatingly difficult. Right.
Black Arms and I were talking about how we were probably going to find some on our list that we didn't think about or forgot about. I didn't even think about Eraser Chin. Didn't even think about him.
Oh man, wait till you guys hear my list. It's we like, but all right. Naturally, I want to start with my honorable mention, which is the final boss from Sonic and Knuckles. Or was it Sonic 3 Knuckles? Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Not the final boss, just before Doomsday. If you want to include that boss too, I'm talking about just, when you're rescuing the Master Emerald while in subspace and just playing as normal Sonic, just Sonic. Basically, this boss takes most hits out of any. I think it takes about a little under 60 hits. I think I lost the number, but it takes a lot of hits for all the fingers, and then the giant laser thing, and then chasing it when everything's crumbling. It takes a lot of hits, and when you're when you're really young and you're just trying to make it through, it can be exhausting, sort of, because one slip up and you do the whole thing over again without the rings that you carried over from just before. The first time you play through it, you keep your rings from the level before, and that's kind of cool. But other than that, there are no rings in the level, and you just gotta, force your way through all of it. More experienced players might just kind of, spin dash, kill all the fingers, and find their way around the laser pretty easily, and have fun with the final chase down the crumbling hallway. But first-time players will have a pain with this boss with so much health, especially if you have all the Chaos Emeralds afterwards, because then you go for an extra round or two in space as your super self, and that's mind-blowing. I think in total it's around 128 hits, this boss. I know it's a lot. Alright, that was just honorable mention. Number 10 is the final fight from Sonic 3D Flicky's Island. This kind of just makes it there because of its multitude of what's the word? Why did I forget the word? Modes, different phases of battle, and it gets a lot. I think finally get into it. I never played it again after that because it was I borrowed the game for one, but it was an exhausting experience because of the whole isometric 3D thing. But at that point, final boss, I was used to it and I was ready to take him on, and boy did it work me over, because 5 phases, 2 rounds, about 6 rings, I think, or 12. It does a lot to you. Number 9 is Wacky Workbench boss from Sonic CD. This boss, I tell you, with Wacky Workbench itself, that level, just wild. And this boss utilizes those elements quite well as irritatingly. because you get the blocks on the bottom. They get bumped up, and you gotta chase after Eggman while hopping on these blocks, keeping yourself in the air. It's a lot. It's just a lot. And when I went through it, Sonic CD itself was just kind of a hard game for me to get into. I love the game a lot, but it's a lot. It's explorative. This boss really didn't make things any easier. It was really tough on me. All right, next, number 8, Egg Breaker, digital circuit version from Shadow the Hedgehog. Now you know my thoughts on Shadow the Hedgehog. Not really not that stellar of a game. Kind of hard to play at times. And this Egg Breaker, definitely, especially the one in digital circuit, was definitely a hard one to get into. Because just the weapons on top of the boxes, all up in the air. And Espio not really helping out that much. He's a crazy dude, but handleable with some practice. Moving on to number 7, Egg Emperor from Sonic Heroes. Now this guy, I actually like the boss. He looks pretty cool, and actually good workmanship on Eggman's part, because unlike the Egg Breaker, this thing moves around quite fast, and with its shield and lance, it doesn't go down very easily. Of course, being in Sonic Heroes, there's the apparent glitch you can do with the flying mode and kill it pretty quickly. But not knowing, all the tips and tricks, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. You're running, you're going down this long, kind of runway on the ship, really hectic, and him just, tackling you, at full speed. With his lance, him sending out his minions, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle, especially for first timers. But it gets pretty fun for those who later on. Next boss, number 6, is the Bio Lizard from Sonic Adventure 2. All right, number 5, Death Egg Zone in Sonic 2 with Knuckles, because he doesn't jump as high. Black Arms explained it earlier. Refer to him for citation. Number 4. Unknown boss, or F-Zone boss, whatever you want to call him, from Sonic Rush. As Black Arms explained, he's a big dude. Really bad big dude with electrical things that come down and hard to dodge those, with the waves of electricity shocking you. And of course his one-hit KOs and his, his bashing for suicide, whatever.
Can I just say one little small point? At that point is when the Eggman saying, "Prepare to be schooled," got really, really annoying.
Oh man, I kind of like it. I actually used it sometimes in real life. For that year, I didn't really use it after that. It didn't catch on as much as "the more the merrier" or "get a load of this." It just didn't catch on.
That's true, but actually, what you find out is that whenever he says that, he's about to use one of his one-hit kill moves. That's what I learned. So.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It was awkward.
Yes. Let's see. Next one. Sonic Advance 2. I owned it for a while, lost it, had to borrow it from a friend, asked to play the final boss, and basically it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. It was very hectic and very scary because I was in space and the guy could freeze you. And he went invisible. He did a bunch of crazy stuff. He had a crazy mode. Even for Super Sonic, it was a lot. Actually, that was the first point where the final boss can actually take rings from Sonic. Even though I complained that it the first time happened was in Sonic Rush, which was untrue. So yes, Sonic Advance 2, first time Super Sonic gets rings pulled out of him and stuff.
Actually, I have one contradiction of that. I actually think the first boss that stole rings was from Sonic Advance because he could shoot those ball things that you could. Anyways, I think I believe he did that. Maybe you're right. Go on though.
Yeah, I believe Sonic Advance 1 boss you could blast to get rings, but I don't know about stealing rings. I think just to waste time, those things grab you. Funny because that final boss, freakishly easy. It's not even funny. But let's save that for another list. But yeah, Sonic Advance 2, final boss, really tough guy. Moving on. Number 2, I went on a spiel about how difficult this boss is. Erasergen. Refer to Black Arms once again for his craziness. But my true pain was the final boss, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. About to say the name, but because I had to type down what I was about to say, but no. Really tough guy. Of course, Sonic has a super mode in that game, but different from his ordinary super modes. You can get hit, and it's a pain because there's not like a whole bunch of rings, just those silver rings that you see throughout the game. Those are the only rings you see out there. I think in the beginning there's some single rings, but other than that, I think it's all silver rings. I might be wrong. My memory's a bit fuzzy. I kind of blocked that away from my memory because it's difficult. It's not fun. The wagging you have to do is infuriating. I got cramps and internal bleeding the first time I played it. It just was that bad. Boss is well made, but it was difficult. Not fun at all. It had slashes as well, just like Eraser Jin. Just multiplied a bunch more. Not much indication, of some attacks. He didn't know how to, dodge some of them, like its spatial orb thing. That was a pain to dodge, and of course, it hurts you. If you get hit by that, not really time you have to worry about. It's your health. You got health, of course. Yes, it was just a generally hard boss. And with, your main Navi-like person guiding you along the way. Without that, you're kind of on your own. A lot of things are not explained to you, and maybe they could have done something about that. Because if this game's for little kids, I'd imagine their arms literally falling off and having to go to the hospital. Just imagine, just bony little arms just having to fall off because this boss relied so much on that. Especially for the hits. I think there's a spinning move. I don't know. A lot of it, as I said, is blocked out, but it's very difficult. A lot of the moves are hard to pull off, and the boss itself is hard to defeat. There you go. Final boss, or top one on my list, is final boss from Sonic Blast, which I just beat today. Hallelujah! Because since getting Sonic Gems, I've unlocked everything, played the demos, tried my hand at all the games I didn't play, even though it was just the final boss. Whatever final boss I could beat, I know I could probably beat the whole game, so I felt accomplished. Sonic Blast, though, oh my gosh. This egg, it's basically just Eggman in an egg that splits in half, and kind of like the Egg Vipers, platformers that come at you with all these spikes. It's kind of like that, except one's moving on top with giant spikes on top of it. You have to hit that by landing on the first platform, moving on this bottom, and then jumping on the other, on the top one. Sounds easy, but with it moving around and pausing for you to hit, those giant spikes really don't help. Giant spikes really don't help. They give it rings, that's nice. But with all the having to, with all the hit, like, you lose them pretty quickly. What I'm trying to say. You get 99, you lose them pretty quickly because you only use 10 at a time. It doesn't really, it helps, but not makes all that difference because you're kind of just like doing suicide, just trying to hit him. And I beat him today. Never so long did a boss take me that long to beat. So that's my top 10. Glad you could listen. Glad I can say it again. Had real fun. And right. We talked about earlier about Sega of America handling more DLCs, whatnot. And just recently, as I think I mentioned this earlier, Sumo is dumping pretty much the rights to, DLC creation to Sonic team, Sega, whatever. So they're just pretty much saying, hey, you guys got any DLC ideas? You gotta handle it now, So ball's in their court, so to speak, and we can pretty much go up to Sega and say, all the ideas that we've been having so far, and they'd be able to, actually do something about it. So, real quickly, go over if people have some ideas or wishful thinking for any possible DLCs for All Stars Racing, just shoot them out. Just let us know.
Phantasy Star Online course.
Ooh, interesting. Any other possible ideas?
Sega owns the rights to Armored Core. Why not put like a little miniature Armored Core in the All-Star Racer DLC?
Really now.
Think about it. That would be kind of cool. Doesn't need a car. It's its own vehicle.
So you want to miniaturize Mecha on the track?
Hey, you will never hear me say anything bad about an Armored Core game. At least anything pertaining to Armored Core 4 or for Answer.
There's lots of stuff they could do. They could add in a Knights course. There also could be a Streets of Rage character, or even course, and all that. Then Super Hang-On, that was actually a vehicle in Sonic Riders, and I was surprised because I thought maybe some character might drive it. I'm not sure who would. And what's been thrown around in rumor is like Bayonetta. And since the game's already out, what we can say is that I'm surprised they used Ristar in the Death Egg thing, though not as a character. And unfortunately, apparently, there's copyright issues with Vector Man, which I find kind of strange because Vector Man was in Sonic Gems collection. Now they can't use him.
Well, yeah.
Because Sega didn't actually make the collection games; they just oversaw. Somebody else could. The people who made them could. I can't think of the company's name off the top of my head, but
they took out
the ones who
took out
rights.
They took out Bare Knuckle out of the American edition of Sonic Gems, by the way. That's something. Oh, man, I lost my train of thought already. Go on.
If I had my personal vote, I would prefer maybe a character, or I guess more so a course from either Phantasy Star Online or from Skies of Arcadia. I'd be very interested in seeing one of those two.
Phantasy Star. There's no reason they can't bring back some Phantasy Star characters and put in All Stars. Particularly Mew from Phantasy Star 3. Oh yeah.
You know what I'd like to see? Some Burning Ranger up in there. You know what I mean?
Burning Rangers go.
I've never actually played the game, but just the music has gotten me so pumped. I want to get my hands on it. And hearing and reading what it was about, it's firefighters in the future, and that's just amazing. And I just want to do that. So I'm trying to read up on all and the info on it, and I think I have it down somewhere. Perfect, an exact character. He's the main guy. I think he's Sho Amabane. Whatever burning thing. Yeah, that guy. I think he would just stick him in there. I don't care. A little shout out.
But basically, I know who would be the best character from Burning Rangers, and it's because there were lots of people which you could rescue inside Burning Rangers, and it was kind of randomized, okay? But one of the people you could rescue was Yuji Naka, no joke. They should have Yuji Naka around the burning ship. Everyone would buy it.
Oh man, that would be wild. Pretty wild. Oh man. Lance, you have to say something.
His all-star moves would be hopping into his fancy car he got for running. Okay, let's shut up.
There is the coolest character ever there's no character cooler. You cannot come up with a cooler character than the one that I'm about to mention.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Flicky? No, go on.
No. Doesn't Sega still own the rights to Sega to Sanshiro?
Oh, yeah. I think they probably do because he's a direct Sega character.
Right. There's no reason they can't put him in. That would be awesome.
I wanted to ride the nuclear missile that he died on.
That could be his all-star move.
No, but I'm pretty sure his all-star move would be if he could just suddenly start running on the road and then throw someone, and when they hit the ground, they explode.
Running like how he was in the Ice Skater video where the guy was skating.
Yeah, the ice skate. He runs like that, and then he does that one thing with the commercial where he throws someone, and their head hits the ground, they explode. There we go.
He'll do that all the way up until he gets to the front. That's what he needs to do until his power runs out.
Oh man! So we're gonna cut it here. First of all, second to last show. Hope you guys can catch us next week for the very last show of the season. And I'd like to thank both my co-hosts for making it at the same time because it's been fun. Yeah, it's been fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Before we go,
yes,
I got a very important thing to say.
Of course.
About issue discussed in All Stars Racing Storm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently reading an article.
Yes.
It's an older article, I think before All Stars Racing came out, but it's about certain characters.
Yes.
This one is about Nozomi from Shenmue.
Yes.
Ryo's love interest, basically, first game. And it says that they wanted to put her on there. It says, it's quoted, "We built Nozomi, but she won't be in the game. She was going to ride on the back of Ryo's bike, but there was the small issue of where does she go when the forklift appears. So she's not in the game, of course, as we all know. But it seems as though this article also mentions that Segata Sanshiro is also one of the rejects that people have been asking for that will not appear."
Aww.
It makes me happy to know that people have been asking for him and really, really clamoring and wanting Segata Sanshiro.
Of course.
Makes me kind of happy. Makes me feel like
he's an awesome guy.
alone.
He's been a part of a lot of people's little personal histories with Sega. You know, being attached to the Sega Saturn and just being a hero to them. You know. So
If I don't play Sega, he'll beat me up.
yeah. So I think, and the Naomi thing. I think I don't really get that, because you know they could have put her. I mean they could. There's a lot of duos. There's a lot of duos in the game that you know they just kind of put there, and then well I don't know for the console version, because I don't know where most of them go. I don't know where really most of them go. But for the DS version, they kind of just poof. They just kind of poof. Well, actually, there are no duos in the DS version. What am I talking about? There are no duos. Let you know. I think I said it previously. There are no duos. They're all singles. You know, you get the Bonanza brothers. You only get one brother. You get the two from the House of the Dead. You get one of them. You get the main dude. It's like, you know, it didn't make a difference there. Why should it make a difference for the console? Put them somewhere. Put her. Maybe she'll like be on top of the lift. Who knows? But you know that's.
And I there's like she could be standing on the back of it,
yeah,
holding on to it,
or on the side, just hanging up like woo, cheering them on or something. I don't know. That's something to ruminate over. So yeah, thanks for joining us this week. Any more last words from either of my co-hosts?
The darkness. Okay, I'm good.
oh, like you're so funny. So yeah, see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Remember, support us, and we should make fun time. Something.
You'll give good blessings to your land.
I love.
Same Sterling.
Your crops will grow.
Same starting place, same versus time. Why am I saying that? Why do I keep saying that? Whatever.
You just don't want to go.
It's Adam West.
All right. Bye.